Pastor Diane from Norfolk Wesleyan Church.
And I am Pastor Peggy from Slave Lake Wesleyan Church. Welcome to Warm Hearted Wednesday.
So glad that you could join us. When Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment? He said, the greatest is, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And that's found in Mark chapter 12, verse 30. And that's why we are doing this live stream at 12:30 Central Time, because we want to keep God central. Works out kind of good too, so it's 1:30 here in Norfolk, New York.
And 11:30 a.m. here in Slave Lake, Alberta.
Well, today's Warm Hearted Wednesday, as Pastor Peggy mentioned, and we're setting Wednesdays aside to talk about how we are loving each other, because that's the second greatest commandment. Love your neighbor as yourself. And last week we talked about a couple of businesses and a couple of individuals who have really stepped up at this time of crisis to help out their community and the greater good. And we're going to talk about a couple of other stories today.
So I know that you've been sharing a story with me over the last few days about someone that you've met.
Yes, a gentleman in my church here. He's sort of a shut-in, not able to get out, and his doctor has told him, you know, your immune system is shot, so you can't leave. He gets Meals on Wheels, so they come and they deliver a meal to him 5 days of the week, and he's told his delivery guy that he just loves celery and tomatoes. That's it. And that's not part of the usual thing that comes with the Meals on Wheels meal. And so this gentleman who's working for Meals on Wheels, he remembered that this gentleman loves celery and tomatoes. And when he was out getting groceries at one of the local Aldi stores, they were on sale. So he picked some up. And apparently the manager came up to him and just engaged him in conversation, what's going on and what's with all the produce and whatnot. So this Meals on Wheels employee had said, well, this is what I'm doing. One of the guys that I deliver to isn't able to get out. He loves this stuff. And so the manager actually gave him extra. And the guy said, so what do I owe you for this? And he said, nothing. He said, you know, we have to be here to help people. And if this guy is shut in, he needs our help. And that's the important thing. And when my friend told me about this, it's like, that is a great story for today, to just remind us that, you know, it's about helping each other out. It's about meeting needs. It's about loving one another as we love ourselves. And
yeah,
I got goosebumps when this guy told me about it. I get goosebumps when I relay the story to others. It's just one of those warm-hearted stories that, you know, these businesses and corporations and all these is a big corporation, but the people at the local store, they're the heart of it, and they have a big heart to say, you know what, it's not about the profits at this time, it's about helping each other out.
It's absolutely amazing how we can see all different spectrums of humanity in a crisis like this. And, you know, from what I've seen on television so far and what the reporters and things like that have been doing, is they've been really highlighting some of these stories, and it almost brings our faith back in humanity, sort of thing, because sometimes the news is so filled with some really hard things, and rightly so, because they're reporting those things. But you know, we need these stories in the middle of something like this. We need to hear.
We definitely do need to hear the uplifting stories.
Absolutely.
So, Pastor Peggy, do you have You have a story to share.
I do. And I was able to contact this young man. His name is Corey. And I actually, a couple of days ago, I was able to meet virtually on Zoom with him. And we were able to record a little video about what he's doing and why he's doing it. So we're going to play that for you now.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. It's great to connect, and good to see you, Pastor Peggy. And you know what I've been doing around town is just offering my services to go and pick things up for people that either can't, don't want to, or are unable to leave their home for whatever reason. There's no determining factor like you need to fill these certain criteria and I'm going to go get stuff for you. Whoever reaches out and needs something, as far as groceries, a prescription filled up, I've even gotten some personal products for people, whatever those needs might be, and I'm there to go help and run those errands. I'm not doing it for anything. I'm not doing it to gain anything. I believe that I'm here to help, and we're called to help and love our neighbors, right? So that's what I've been doing. It's going to the grocery stores, to the convenience stores, whatever I can do to just make it easier for people. Because even though we're in this, this self quarantine or whatever you want to call it, it's not saying that we need to be isolated and not talk to anybody ever and be this recluse, but so to still be in community with each other in one way or another. And so I'm hoping that I'm fulfilling some of that and making it easier for some people that are struggling or just afraid to step out their door. Anytime that there's a delivery from the food bank to usually to a lower income family, then I'm happy to go and deliver. And they have everything all packed up, so I'm not touching anybody, or I'm not in anybody's vicinity. It's all there. I pick it up, put it in my car, I drop it at the person's door, and that's it.
That's amazing.
I kind of do the knock and run. A few people will open up their window, or normally I'll walk 20 feet away or so and just wait for them to open their door before I leave, just to make sure, like, all right, it's there, you're good, and then I go. So a lady who, she's got a low immune system already. She's one of the few immunosuppressed people in our world. She's got allergies. So, and her husband, who is okay, he almost always works night shifts. So for him to still keep working to make sure that they're good and to be able to go and do all the shopping, it's not really practical. So I remember just one day, like, her just kind of shedding a tear saying thank you, and it wasn't anything more than, I just want to be there to help. And it was just that moment of, it's like I said before, I'm not doing this for anything, but to see the gratitude that it was just, hey, we really appreciate it and thank you so much. Like, that was just, for me, that was a heartwarming moment of, like, I feel good, made me feel good about myself, made me feel good about what I'm doing. And it was just an encouragement to my faith as well, that, all right, God, you put me on a good path, I'm doing the right thing, and this is good. So yeah, that was kind of a moment of, all right, like, this is great, like, let's keep going.
Now, you have a wife and a child.
Yes.
And how do they feel about you doing this?
Well, other than me having to wake my wife up early in the morning so I can go shopping, they're all good about it. They understand that like, my daughter's 3.5 years old, so her understanding of faith is kind of limited, but at the same time, we are very open to share with her that, God commands us and calls us to love our neighbors. And what does loving our neighbors look like? So we've talked about it in a very simple form of doing something for somebody, or giving somebody something, or very simple things that a toddler would understand.
Right.
And so My wife, she's proud, she's happy. So yeah, both of them are all on board. They're all for it, and we have a calling, and we're going to fulfill it as a family.
Well, that was a great story. It was nice to hear sort of a follow-up on what you had mentioned about this gentleman last week when we shared our warm-hearted stories. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful, and we want you to share with us your warm-hearted stories. When people are being nice to you, or you hear about somebody who's going above and beyond what we normally expect of people, just share those down in the comments. We'd love to read through those and feel those warm fuzzies.
And let other people read through them as well, because when we're sharing these stories, it's not to share stories so that we feel good, but it's to share stories with you out there so that you will be encouraged, and maybe you'll see something that you can do, maybe even if it's just a phone call that you've made to someone. And I say just a phone call because we often think, oh, it's just a phone call. But right now, when some people are shut in, a phone call is exactly what they need. I know I've seen someone this week, they visit their grandmother and at the seniors home, and they took a picture of themselves outside the window waving to grandma and for someone like that who may or may not be as connected as some of the young people are, that is, a phone call is not just a phone call, it is the world.
Yeah. There are a lot of people dealing with loneliness right now, and there's no such thing as just a phone call.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we have our, what day is it, Pastor Peggy?
It's Tadpole Thursday! Yay! We've got a great story for you.
Yes, I am really looking forward to it. Pastor Peggy's going to be reading one of my favorite kids' books. So we will see you tomorrow at 12:30 Central Time. Till then, I'm Pastor Diane.
And I'm Pastor Peggy.
Be safe.
Be healthy.
And be the
church.
Sir.
Bye, sir.